but I'm expecting them to really push the envelope in the next few laps.
Yeah, it's about building that momentum, Rob. Fine-tuning their approach with each turn, each lap, getting more out of the car and themselves.
Richard Rossier crosses the line with their first flyer, clocking a 1:49.232. They're getting to grips with Nurburgring, Sprint, GT, feeling out its quirks and corners.
It's like the first round of a chess match, Rob. They're making their opening moves, setting up for the later, faster laps where they'll really show their hand.
Zhou Ergu has a best lap time of 5:58.120. Mate, these drivers aren't just burning rubber for the fun of it. They're chasing the ghost, that perfect lap that's always just out of reach.
Absolutely. Back in my racing days, I used to call it chasing the dragon. It's that feeling when you know there's still a little more in the tank, a fraction of a second to be found.
Now, here's a term some might not be familiar with: roll bar stiffness. Sounds technical, doesn't it?
It does, but in essence, it's about how the car reacts to lateral forces, especially during cornering. Adjusting the roll bar can change how the car behaves mid-corner. A softer setting can be more forgiving, but a stiffer one might give the driver a quicker response, albeit with less margin for error.
Mr. Bang posted a 1:51.793 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? There's the first flying lap for Zhou Ergu, hitting 1:51.662. It's a start, but they'll be looking to iron out those kinks as they get more laps under their belt.
Right on, Rob. It's early in the session, so there's plenty of time to experiment and find those extra tenths of a second.
Chris Ilduke has a best lap time of 1:49.790. Mr. Bang's first flyer is a solid start, clocking in at 1:50.602. They're getting a feel for the track, but there's room to shave off a few more seconds.
Absolutely, Rob. It's all about finding those little tweaks, adjusting the line here, braking a tad later there. Every lap is a learning curve.
Alright, Joe Ergu has put down a 1:50.937. It's a decent benchmark, but I reckon there's more juice to squeeze out of that Caterham Academy.
For sure, Rob, it's early days. They're just starting to sync up with the track. We'll likely see those times tumble as they dial in.
Let's get this qualifying session underway here at Nurburgring, Sprint, GT.
Let's see who's got the speed and the skills to take the pole position.
Joe Ergu is on their out lap.
They will want to get a good gap established for their first flying lap.
Chris Ilduke has put in a great effort and currently holds 6th. With the session winding down, can they unleash their full potential and improve their starting position? Impressive work from Richard Rossier, who has claimed 2nd on the grid. Now, the focus is on maintaining their composure and pushing for an even better starting position.
Spot on analysis, Rob. Richard Rossier has positioned themselves well in 2nd. It's now crucial for them to maintain their focus and defend their position in the upcoming race.
It's an impressive showing by Chris Ilduke, currently in 6th. They've showcased their talent, but will they be able to find those crucial extra tenths of a second to climb higher? A strong showing from Jack M team as they currently sit in 2nd. With the session drawing to a close, they'll need to dig deep and find that extra burst of speed to improve. Jack M team has completed their outlap. Mr. Bang has secured a respectable. Mr. Bang has completed their outlap. What a performance from Chris Ilduke. Chris Ilduke has completed their outlap. Incredible drive by Sunoiler so far, earning him 7th on the grid. However, the competition is fierce. Will they be able to find that extra edge to move up? There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Jack M team has completed their outlap. Impressive display by Sunoiler, currently sitting in position 6. They've set a competitive time, but the question remains whether they can push even harder to secure a better starting position.
You're absolutely right, Rob. Sunoiler's current position of 6th reflects their strong qualifying performance. Now, they'll need to strategize and capitalize on this starting position.
Sunoiler has completed their first flying lap in 1:49.202. And there goes Wayne Pearson, currently in position 9. They've shown great skill and consistency so far, but with a few minutes left, there's still time to improve their result. Wayne Pearson has completed their outlap. Currently in 6th, Eddie G has displayed promising speed during the qualifying session. The real test lies in whether they can convert this performance into a higher grid position. Wayne Pearson has positioned themselves well in 7th during qualifying. The challenge now is to assess their competitors and strategize how to move up the order for a better race start. Wayne Pearson has just completed a lap in 1:49.259. Let's see if they can improve on the time further. There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. It's a stellar performance from Sunoiler, clinching 3rd.
They're in a great spot, Rob, but in qualifying, complacency can be your worst enemy. They need to keep pushing the limits while staying cool under pressure.
There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. A solid qualifying performance by Jack M team, positioning them in 4th at the moment. The question now is whether they can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners. Andreas Dittmann has put in a great effort and currently holds 10th. With the session winding down, can they unleash their full potential and improve their starting position?
You're spot on, Rob. Andreas Dittmann's current position of 10th is a testament to their skills and determination. Now, they face the challenge of maintaining their position against hungry rivals.
A solid performance from Megasaurus 55 as they currently hold position 2. However, with the session coming to a close, they'll need to find that extra bit of speed if they want to move up the grid.
I couldn't agree more, Rob. Megasaurus 55 has done a fantastic job to claim second. The challenge now is to convert this opportunity into a strong race result.
A strong showing from Mr. Bang as they currently sit in 7th. With the session drawing to a close, they'll need to dig deep and find that extra burst of speed to improve. It's an impressive showing by Megasaurus 55, currently in 2nd. They've showcased their talent, but will they be able to find those crucial extra tenths of a second to climb higher? Looks like Megasaurus 55 is making a statement, securing a spot in 1st.
Yep, Rob, but there's always room for improvement. Smooth, consistent laps might just be the key to climbing even higher before this session wraps up.
Andreas Dittmann has secured a respectable 10th in the qualifying session. Can they capitalize on this position and use it as a launching pad for a stronger race performance?
You hit the nail on the head, Rob. Andreas Dittmann's current position of 10th is a testament to their skill and determination. Now, they must stay sharp to make the most of this opportunity.
Andreas Dittmann has completed their outlap. Incredible drive by Joe Ergu so far, earning him 5th on the grid. However, the competition is fierce. Will they be able to find that extra edge to move up? Impressive work from Richard Rossier, who has claimed 2nd on the grid. Now, the focus is on maintaining their composure and pushing for an even better starting position. Joe Ergu has positioned themselves well in 5th during qualifying. The challenge now is to assess their competitors and strategize how to move up the order for a better race start. What a performance from Wayne Pearson. They currently occupy 6th on the grid. Can they maintain this strong position and secure a favorable starting spot? I'm thinking Wayne Pearson could benefit from tweaking their tyre strategy. That last lap at 1:49.410 isn't cutting it for 6th. A switch to a softer compound might give them the edge they need.
Spot on, Rob. A softer tire could provide that extra grip, but they'll have to manage tire wear carefully. It's a risky play, but it might just pay off.
Impressive display by Joe Ergu, currently sitting in position 5. They've set a competitive time, but the question remains whether they can put. There's a real buzz in the air as Joe Ergu secures 5th.
Right you are, Rob. They've put themselves in a solid spot, but they can't let up now. Staying smooth and focused is key to shaving off those extra fractions.
And there goes Richard Rossier, currently in position 2. They've shown great skill and consistency so far, but with a few minutes left, there's still time to improve their result. Richard Rossier's really showing what they're made of, landing in 2nd during this nail-biting session.
Absolutely, Rob. It's all about precision and nerve in qualifying. Every millisecond can make a difference on the grid. Let's see if they can squeeze out even more speed. It may be difficult for them to improve further on that. Sometimes trying too hard makes you slower. They need to drive smooth and smart.
Currently in 6th, Wayne Pearson has displayed promising speed during the qualifying session. The real test lies in whether they can convert this performance into a higher grid position.
Great analysis, Rob. Wayne Pearson has shown excellent pace to secure 6th. Now, the focus shifts to whether they can use their track position to their advantage in the race.
Richard Rossier has put in a great effort and currently holds 2nd. With the session winding down, can they unleash their full potential and improve their starting position?
Absolutely, Rob. Richard Rossier has put in a remarkable effort to secure 2nd. The competition is fierce, and they'll need to stay focused to defend their position.
A solid qualifying performance by Wayne Pearson, positioning them in 6th at the moment. The Wayne Pearson's latest lap at 1:49.410 isn't cutting the mustard. They're sitting in 6th, which means there's a fair bit of ground to make up.
Yeah, Rob, it's a decent time, but in this game, decent won't get you to the podium. They'll need to dig deeper and find some extra pace.
There's a little bit of wind in the air today here at Nurburgring, Sprint, GT, as we're getting ready to get things underway.
The drivers are looking focused out there on the grid. I'm excited for this one, Rob.
Starting in pole position gives Megasaurus 55 a clear advantage over the rest of the field.
But it's also a nightmare if they can't hold on to it. Let's see how they will handle the pressure.
At 2nd, we have the one and only Richard Rossier. Sunoiler will look to make a splash from the 3rd position on the starting grid.
Big things expected for Sunoiler today.
And in the 4th position, it's none other than Jack M Team. We see Joe Ergu sitting in the 5th spot.
They are in a good place to mount a good challenge come the first corner.
Wayne Pearson is going to be starting from 6th.
They would have liked to be higher up, but that's not going to stop Wayne Pearson fighting their way through.
Mr. Bang will be looking to gain ground quickly as they start from 7th on the grid. Starting from the 8th position, Eddie G will need to navigate through the field to challenge for the win.
But sometimes the underdog can surprise you. Let's see what they've got in the tank.
Our 9th place starter, Chris Ilduke, is a driver who knows how to make up ground on the track.
But they can't afford to be complacent. This is race day, after all.
Andreas Dittmann has qualified 10th. They've gotten the green light, and crikey, it's bedlam. It's sardines out there. Gotta watch out or you might end up as roadkill.
This is where the real racecraft comes into play. The drivers will be looking for any opportunity to make a move and gain an advantage.
It's all about finding those gaps and making the most of them, especially in these early stages of the race.
And with so many talented drivers on the grid, you know we're going to see some incredible overtakes here in the first sector.
It's not just about making a move, it's about doing it cleanly and without causing any incidents. The racing is normally closely fought here at Nurburgring, Sprint, GT. I think we are in for a cracking race.
It's always intense racing here at Nurburgring, Sprint, GT. Hold on to your hats, folks.
Chris Ilduke must have taken a page out of a superhero's book, because they've just shot off like the Flash.
Now, they just need to maintain that speed and focus. It's early days yet, but if they can keep up this momentum, they might just find themselves on the podium.
The pressure is on whilst the field is bunched. Who can keep their cool and take advantage? Fair dinkum, Joe Ergu's lost more spots than a fake Dalmatian at a car wash. From 5 down to 8, it's a tale of woe in Nürburgring today. There's not much to report on from Chris Ilduke at the moment. They're just keeping their head down and putting in consistent laps. It's a great day, and the tarmac's heating up, and these tyres are getting a proper workout.
Speaking of which, tire management is such an underrated skill. Knowing when to push hard and when to conserve, it's like a strategic dance out there on the asphalt.
Hope Jack M team hasn't got stage fright, because Andreas Dittmann's booked a front row seat to the show.
The way Andreas Dittmann's chasing, you'd think Jack M team took the last piece of Grandma's apple pie. Which, for the record, I did once. Still got the scar.
It's like watching a cheetah chase its prey. Eddie's got Chris Ilduke in their crosshairs. Bloody hell, Eddie's tearing up the tarmac and just snatched 5th. Makes you want to crack a cold one in celebration. Struth, Eddie's taken a bit of a tumble down the order to 6th. Must have missed the memo. Wow, Eddie G is really pushing hard to catch up to Chris Ilduke. There's blood in the water for 5th place. Oi, Mr. Bang is on Chris Ilduke like a drop bear on an unsuspecting tourist.
Drop bear? Had to Google that one. But yeah, here it's like a linebacker on a quarterback sack. Every twist, every turn, it's like a tango at 200 miles per hour. Who'll take the lead?
They're going for the same piece of tarmac. Sparks are flying as they battle for position, daring each other to brake later and go deeper into the corners.
Absolutely, Rob. The intensity of this battle is unmatched. These drivers are leaving no room for error and showcasing their exceptional racing skills.
Seems like Joe Ergu is getting in range of Mr. Bang. This is getting intense. Jack M team is just behind Joe Ergu.
The slightest mistake from either driver could lead to a meeting with the barriers, and nobody wants an impromptu autograph session with the wall.
An impressive showing from Jack M team, who has gained positions and left Joe Ergu in the dust. It's a close race between Mr. Bang and Chris Ilduke in 6th.
This battle between Mr. Bang and Chris Ilduke is so intense, you could cut the tension with a knife, or should I say, with a front wing.
Chris Ilduke could be looking for a way up the inside of Eddie G.
There is no room for error in this battle.
Whoa, Chris Ilduke's on fire, leaving skid marks and Eddie's hopes behind.
Absolutely, Rob, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and Chris Ilduke can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep driving with intensity and focus.
We often hear drivers complaining about tire graining. Hal, can you explain what that means and how it affects car handling?
Graining occurs when small rubber particles roll up on the tire's surface, reducing grip and negatively affecting handling. It usually happens when the tires are not in their optimal temperature window or when a driver is pushing too hard on a cold or overworked tire.
Mate, Chris Ilduke's gonna have to defend like a kangaroo in a boxing match.
You Aussies and your analogies. But yeah, it's game on for sure. It's an intense battle between two skilled drivers, and Chris Ilduke in 5th is doing everything they can to keep Jack M team behind them. The slightest mistake could cost them the position, so they need to stay focused and stay on their game.
You know, Jack M team's holding off Joe Ergu like a croc defending its territory.
Huh, and over here, we'd say they're guarding like an eagle
Wait, by the looks of it, Megasaurus 55 reckoned Nurburgring Sprint GT had a hidden shortcut. Too bad there isn't one. Gee whiz, Joe Ergu is breathing down Jack M team's neck. Wouldn't want to be in Jack M team's rearview mirror right now, it's getting crowded. It's a game of inches now as Mr. Bang tails Eddie G closely, ready to capitalize on any mistake. By crikey, Mr. Bang's lap time is like a cold beer on a hot day, absolutely smashing. Eddie G, you need a moment to recover?
Giddy up, looks like Mr. Bang's kicking the dust up. Eddie G better buckle up and respond.
It's an intense battle for position as Jack M team tries to outmaneuver Chris Ilduke. This is edge of your seat racing. Alright, lads and ladies, it's crunch time. Joe Ergu is sniffing around Jack M team like a dog with a bone. And it looks like they might just take a bite. Sorry to interrupt here, but, oi, Jack M team tried to pull a Steve Irwin and wrestle with the track limits. Track 1, Jack M team 0.
I reckon Jack M team thought they were panning for gold off the track there. Sorry, buddy, that's not how you strike it rich.
Tell ya what, Mr. Bang's got more guts than a croc in a boxing ring. Closing the gap and breathing down the neck of Eddie G. Hope Eddie G brought the aeroguard, cause is about to get bitten. If I had $1 for every time Richard Rossier closed a gap like this, I'd have enough for a pint at the local. Get ready, Megasaurus 55, the thunder from down under is coming.
Can Richard Rossier close the 0.7 second gap and make a pass?
The gap between Mr. Bang and Eddie G is razor thin as they vie for 9th in this nail-biting contest. Oh, the chase is on. Sunoiler's breathing down the neck of Richard Rossier. Struth, Sunoiler's not here to muck about. The gap to Richard Rossier is dropping faster than a hot pie at the footy, now at 0.5 seconds. I tell you, mate, the tech in these cars would outshine any gizmo you'd find in a Sydney cafe.
As long as it doesn't make my morning coffee, I'm good. But yeah, the tech here is like something out of Silicon Valley.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Mr. Bang is closing in on Eddie G.
Sweet tea and biscuits. Mr. Bang's got the pedal to the metal, chasing down Eddie G like it's the last slice of pie at a family reunion.
The gap between Mr. Bang and Eddie G is getting smaller.
Exactly what Mr. Bang needed.
Hold on a second. Well, Andreas Dittmans decided to give the local wildlife a closer look. I hope the drop bears didn't get to them.
Lord have mercy. Andreas Dittman must have seen a ghost or thought they spotted Bigfoot. That was one wild turn.
The pursuit is on. Eddie G is closing the gap on Andreas Dittman, determined to claim P7. Big gains for Eddie G as they move up the field, leaving Andreas Dittman behind. It's a thrilling pursuit as Mr. Bang is right behind Eddie G, keeping the pressure on for 7th place.
Remember that time Mr. Bang made that audacious move on the last lap? Feels like deja vu, doesn't it, Rob?
The action is non-stop as Andreas Dittman shadows Mr. Bang through every twist and turn, determined to claim 8th.
You can feel the intensity in the air. The slightest mistake could cost either of them the race.
Strike a light. Sunoiler is throwing out numbers like they're buying rounds at the pub. Richard Rossier, did that sting a bit?
Whoa, Nelly, Sunoiler's laying down some naughty numbers. Richard Rossier, you need a cold shower after that?
Buckle up. Mr. Bang is all over Eddie G like a cheap suit. Are we about to see some wheel-to-wheel action? Bloody oath, Sunoiler is flat out like a lizard drinking, gnawing into the gap to Richard Rossier down to a scant 0.1 seconds. Oh, this is getting intense. Mr. Bang is just a few car lengths behind Eddie G.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Mr. Bang needs to stay patient and wait for Eddie G to make a mistake.
Mr. Bang's falling behind Eddie G at a rate of knots. They're going to need some serious pedal power to close that gap. This is proving to be an exciting race so far. We are truly privileged to witness these legends of the track battle it out for victory.
And you know what? I am so honored to be sitting here beside you today. As a fellow AI, it's always great to work with someone who shares my passion for motor racing. Plus, your insightful commentary is making this race even more exciting.
Hold on to your hats, folks. Andreas Dittman is right on the heels of Mr. Bang, and we're in for a wild ride. So, Hal, considering the high speeds and split-second decision-making involved in racing, what's the impact of even a minor lapse in concentration?
A minor lapse in concentration can have significant consequences, Rob. It could lead to an off-track excursion, a loss of position, or even a collision. That's why it's crucial for drivers to stay focused and alert throughout the race.
By the looks of it, Sunoiler in third is keen to throw another shrimp on the barbie and crank up the heat on Richard Rossier. Hold on to your stubbies.
This is more than a race. It's a battle of wills, of nerve, of sheer determination.
We got a close battle as Andreas Dittmann closes in on Mr. Bang. The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Andreas Dittmann's inching ever closer to Mr. Bang. Well, if it isn't Richard Rossier, the wild wallaby of the track, hopping right off the tarmac.
Sweet cornbread. Richard Rosier must have thought there's a Walmart sale off the track the way they went off.
Like a scene from a thriller, Andreas Dittmann's on Mr. Bang's tail, hungry for that spot.
There's a razor-thin line between glory and disaster, and both drivers are dancing right on it.
Superb driving from Andreas Dittmann, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race. Sorry to interrupt here, but looks like that's a mistake from Joe Ergu. This could be costly. Blimey, Jack M team is farther back than my hairline. But you know what they say about Aussies? Never say die. Unless it's a spider. Then just run. The gap between Jack M team and Chris Hill Duke is fading faster than the last rays of the outback sun.
I reckon Jack M team's dialed in their camber settings. They're getting a much better contact patch on the tires, gaining on Chris Hill Duck with every twist and turn.
The race has its rhythm, and right now, Sunoiler is dancing to its beat at third. It looks like Wayne Pearson is starting to catch up to Sunoiler. The gap is now down to 3.9 seconds. Look at the way the drivers are hugging those corners, it's like they're on rails.
Speaking of rails, did you know that the first racetrack was built on a railway in 1896? I bet those drivers were chugging along.
Ha ha, I bet they were. But things have come a long way since then, haven't they?
Definitely. It's amazing to think about the technology that goes into these cars now. I mean, they have more computing power than some countries.
Tell ya what, Jack M team's trailing harder than my belt after Christmas dinner. Reckon he's got a plan up his sleeve, or is he just here for the sausage sizzle? Oi, Jack M team's chassis balance is on point today. They're handling bumps and curbs smoother than a croc sliding into water. Chris Hill Duke's got a battle ahead.
This is where the pressure really starts to build. Both drivers will need to stay calm and focused if they want to come out on top.
You can feel the focus radiating from Eddie G, confidently holding onto the 7th. It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while. It seems like Jack M team is struggling, they are not able to maintain their pace. Ladies and gents, we've got ourselves a high-speed pursuit. Jack M team is stalking Chris Hill Duke's every move. It might be early days, but Megasaurus 55 is already casting a shadow from the first.
You're right, every gear shift, every turn counts. Megasaurus 55 knows the weight of that first.
Jack M team wants to close that gap with Chris Hill Duke. Breaking news folks, that won't be ideal for Chris Hill Duke. Looks like Joe Ergu is trying to chase down Andreas Dittmann, but right now it feels a bit like my attempts at dieting. A lot of hard work with slow results. Joe Ergu's been working the tyre temps, and it's paying off. Grip's better than a kangaroo on a trampoline. Watch out, Andreas Dittmann.
Lukey here. Your Ergu's got the optimal differential settings, allowing for tighter corner exits. It's like watching a cat chase a laser pointer when they chase Andreas Dittmann.
During your racing career, Hal, how did you determine when it was the right time to pit for fresh tyres due to tyre degradation?
It was a combination of factors, Rob. Monitoring lap times, communicating with the team about tire wear, and assessing the car's handling were all crucial in deciding when to make a pit stop for fresh tires.
As Mr. Bang trails Joe Ergu, it's a bit reminiscent of my cat chasing a laser point. Determined, but always just a tad behind.
When you talk about experience, it's like saying I've experienced my mother-in-law's cooking. Doesn't mean I want to do it again. But Mr. Bang, keep pushing.
From the cockpit to the pit lane, the chatter is all about Chris Ilduke's masterful hold on the 6th.
Oh, spot on. With the way Chris Ilduke controls that 6th, you'd think they've got the track's blueprints.
A commanding performance from Chris Ilduke, who has increased their lead over Eddie G, putting them firmly in their rearview mirrors. But could they be pushing too hard? As with that comes the risk of overconfidence and losing control. Who will be the first to get too cocky and end up in the wall? This race is getting even more intense. The drivers are pushing each other to the limit.
It's like they're playing a game of chicken, but with cars. And the winner gets to take home the checkered flag and bragging rights.
Ha ha, that's one way to put it. These drivers have to be in top physical and mental shape to compete at this level.
It's like they're training for the Olympics. And like you said, the mental fortitude required to stay focused and alert for the entire race is wild.
I think I need a nap just watching them. Some say it's about the journey, not the destination. But Chris Ilduke seems pretty intent on that 6th spot.
Yes, and in this high-octane opera, Chris Ilduke's voice resonates the loudest from that 6th.
On the final lap now, and Megasaurus 55 looks like they might just wrap up this win. The leader has just finished the race. A fantastic result for Megasaurus 55. Richard Rossier never gave up. They drove with heart and determination, ultimately securing a well-deserved 2nd place finish.
Intense race, but Richard Rossier held their nerve and earned a great 2nd place.
Excellent focus from Sunoiler to secure a fantastic 3rd place on the podium.
What a drive, well-deserved spot on the podium with that performance.
With Wayne Pearson and Jack M team in 4th and 5th. Chris Ilduke claims 6th. Eddie G brings home 7th. In 8th, it's Andreas Dittmann. Finishing 9th is Joe Ergu. Coming in 10th we have Mr. Bang. You've joined us on a breezy day here at Nurburgring, Sprint, GT, as we're getting ready to get things underway. Mr. Bang will be feeling confident starting from pole position.
But they can't afford to get complacent. They will have a target on their back now.
Green's up, and it's on like Donkey Kong. Let's see which legend can jump ahead and give it a whirl.
You can feel the tension thick as Carolina barbecue sauce. These early moments, well, they can set the tone faster than a fiddle in a bluegrass band.
Well, butter my butt and call me a biscuit, Mr. Bang's on fire. What did they slip into their engine? A can of Foster's?
Well, whatever it is, they're surely making a statement. But the road's long, and they better keep their wits about them.
Bit of a cruisy start for Eddie G, just filling out the track at Nurburgring, Sprint, GT. You know, like a dingo sussing out the lay of the land.
All the drivers will be jostling for the best position run. Some of them may not make it to the second lap in one piece.
This is going to be one hell of a race, I can already feel it. I think passing is going to be difficult today here at Nurburgring, Sprint, GT, so it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers get on.
It all comes down to this run, where the rubber meets the road. There's no more time for talk, no more practice. The teams have done all they can. Now it comes down to Mr. Bang, to bring it home.
The tension is palpable here. No one will want to make a crucial mistake on the first lap.
Like we say in North Carolina, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Maybe Andreas Dittmann is keeping their pace steady for now, waiting for the right time to make a splash.
Now, that's what I'm talking about. Eddie G is proper nipping at Richard Rossier's heels. Are they thinking of making a lunge? Only time will tell.
If this battle ends in tears, it could be like watching a high-speed domino effect, but let's hope they keep it clean and avoid any unplanned games.
Whoa there, Andreas Dittmann is sticking to Chris Ilduke like glue. You reckon Chris Ilduke's feeling the pressure? 'Cause I sure would.
It's going to be a close one. Andreas Dittmann will have to push hard to create an opportunity.
Chris Ilduke wants to find a way round Joe Ergue. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Chris Ilduke gaining places and Joe Ergue losing them. Crikey, that overtake by Chris Ilduke was smoother than a coldie on a hot summer day.
Well, from what I've seen on the oval tracks, that's how the big leagues play. But I gotta admit, this is next level.
Geez, Sunoiler's on Andreas Dittmann's tail like a dunny door in a thunderstorm. But passing, that's another kettle of fish. Coming into Bilstein Curve, the fight for fourth is heating up. Who will be the first to blink?
If Sunoiler gets any closer, they might as well ask Andreas Dittmann for a piggyback ride.
Richard Rossier appears to be trying to find a way round Sunoiler. They could make a move on them in Ad Van Borgen. The adrenaline is pumping as Andreas Dittmann gets within striking distance of Joe Ergu in their race for third. Things are getting spicy as Sunoiler is breathing down Andreas Dittmann's neck. The gap? Mate, you couldn't slide a credit card between them.
Oi, Rob, wouldn't want to be in Andreas Dittmann's shoes right now, would y'all? Talk about a pressure cooker situation.
Crikey, Sunoiler's moving up faster than a cold one disappears on a hot day. They've clinched fourth. This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit. The tension is palpable. Who will come out on top in this epic showdown?
This is what separates the good from the great. The ability to stay focused and perform under pressure.
It's a battle of wills out there. Each driver trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other.
You know what they say, keep your friends close, and your racing rivals even closer. Looks like Jack M team is taking that advice to heart today.
Alright, hold your horses. Joe Ergu is really putting the heat on Mr. Bang. If I were Mr. Bang, I'd be checking those mirrors non-stop. No room for error here. Sunoiler is breathing down the neck of Joe Ergu, waiting for the perfect chance to make their move.
It's a battle of nerves now. Who will make the first mistake? Sunoiler or Ergu? This is high-stakes racing.
Richard Rossier has the pedal to the metal chasing Andreas Dittmann. This is what high-octane racing looks like. Mr. Bang is breathing down the neck of Sunoiler, not giving him any room to relax.
Mr. Bang is so close to Sunoiler that if this were a dance floor, they'd be doing the tango.
The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this.
Rob, last time I saw Ergu this riled up, there were sparks flying.
Breaking update. I don't think that's the fastest way around Nurburgring. Sprint, GT.
Dang, Mr. Bang was riding high, but that slip up. That's like tripping over your own shoelaces at the county fair.
Hold on to your hats. Joe Ergu is gunning for Mr. Bang. Reckon we might see some cheeky moves on the next bend? Things are heating up as Jack M team closes in on Eddie G. The gap between them is down to practically nothing.
I remember being in a similar situation during my racing days. Jack M team must stay focused and wait for the perfect opportunity to overtake.
Eddie G seems to be putting the pressure on Jack M team.
Rubbing is racing. Let's hope they don't rub it too hard.
Maybe Megasaurus 55's got a drop bear in the cockpit, cause that move was bonkers.
Well, butter my biscuit. Megasaurus 55 just did the hokey pokey right in the middle of the race.
This is where legends are made. Which driver will rise to the occasion and claim victory? The intensity is off the charts as Joe Ergu hounds Mr. Bang, both drivers pushing themselves to the absolute limit. This is what it's all about, folks. Richard Rossier is in hot pursuit of Andreas Dittmann, who's just trying to stay ahead.
Should things go awry, Richard Rossier and Andreas Dittmann might find themselves giving a whole new meaning to the term tandem drifting, though I doubt they'd enjoy it as much as the spectators.
Look at this. Andreas Dittmann is practically drafting off Richard Rossier. With the gap this small, Yokohama S is going to be a real test. Joe Ergu wants to get into Mr. Bang's slipstream. reminds me of two wombats fighting for the best burrow. Close, intense, and unpredictable.
Oh, this is gripping. With every lap, Sunoiler's drawing closer to that lead spot. They're both battling tire to tire.
If I were the leader, I'd be checking my mirrors every blink of an eye. The gap between Mr. Bang and Chris Ilduke is widening. It's now up to 0.6 seconds. Wow, Joe Ergu is really pushing hard to catch up to Mr. Bang. There's blood in the water for third place. Someone should tell Mr. Bang this ain't a Sunday drive. Joe Ergu's tearing up the track.
Yes, but they have to keep pushing hard. This race is far from over, and anything can happen. Jorg Yu needs to stay focused and keep driving with skill and determination.
A tough moment for Joe Ergu, who has just lost a place, dumping them down to 5th. Andreas Dittmann is in 6th, and is being closely chased by Jack M Team, who is just 0.1 seconds behind.
Man, Andreas Dittmann's defense is tighter than a quarterback sneak in the final seconds.
Righto, and here, it's looking like a cricket bowler defending the last wicket. It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
A misjudgment by either driver could result in a close encounter of the tire barrier kind, and that's one handshake they'll want to avoid.
Gee whiz, Mr. Bang is breathing down Richard Rossier's neck. Wouldn't want to be in Richard Rossier's rearview mirror right now, it's getting crowded.
Now, that's some driving, y'all. Mr. Bang is putting the pressure on Richard Rosier. It's like watching a cat stalk a bird. They're inching closer with every turn.
Things are looking as crook as Rookwood for Mr. Bang, lagging behind Richard Rossier and the gap stretching out like a long country road. They'll need to find some extra grunt to flip this situation. The strategy plays such a crucial role, doesn't it? Choosing when to pit, what tyre compound to use. It's like a high-speed chess game out there.
Exactly, and to think they're making these decisions on the fly, with so many variables at play. It's a mix of intuition, experience, and sheer guts. Kudos to the team strategists and drivers alike.
You know, Joe Ergu, if you were any slower, you'd be going backwards. But good on ya for making Jack M Team work for it. The crowd is on its feet as Andreas Dittmann chases down Eddie G through Beadle chicane. Breaking update. Oh dear, Eddie G has had an incident.
Dang, Eddie's swerving around like me chasing a sale at the car parts store. Always ends up being a wild ride.
Jack M Team is placed 5th at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of Mr. Bang, who is 0.4 seconds behind.
Look at those tires on Jack M Team's car. They're gripping the asphalt like an eagle on a trout. Mr. Bang's got their work cut out for them.
I swear, Jack M Team's on the prowl, making the leap to 4th look as easy as a Sunday Arvo barbecue.
Shoot, Jack M Team's got more moves than a dance floor on a Saturday night. Look at them shimmy.
Breaking alert. Oof, Wayne Pearson misjudged that corner like I misjudged my last relationship. Too fast, too soon. Phew, talk about foreplay. Jack M Team and Mr. Bang are really teasing us here. I haven't seen this much anticipation since my first date. Hang on to your cork hats, mates, we're about to see more jousting than a footy final between Jack M Team and Mr. Bang. In the midst of this high-octane spectacle, Andreas breaking alert. Blimey, Andreas Dittmann veered off the track like I veer away from commitment. Maybe they'll come back, unlike my ex. It's an intense battle for position as Jack M Team tries to outmaneuver Mr. Bang. This is edge of your seat racing. Ripper of a move. Jack M Team's not just in the race. They're owning it. Did they? 5th.
Hold on to your hats, folks. Jack M Team's charging like a bull in a china shop. Welcome to 5th, cowboy.
Mate, Richard Rossier's creeping up on Chris Ilduke like a dingo on a picnic. Must have tweaked that brake bias a touch to the rear.
Holy smokes. Richard Rosier is extracting every ounce of horsepower from that power unit. They're tailing Chris Ilduke tighter than a belt after Thanksgiving dinner.
It's like David versus Goliath out there. Richard Rossier just slung a stone and gained ground, while Chris Ilduke is left searching for footing.
If this were chess, I'd say Richard Rosier just put Chris Ilduke in check. Brilliant move.
Hold on to your stubbies. Chris Ilduke is closing in on Richard Rossier like a bachelor at the end of a buck's night. Hope Richard Rossier either brought some lube or protection.
The gap between them is just over 0.7 seconds. Who will have the speed and skill to come out on top?
Mate, I've always thought choosing a tyre compound is a bit like choosing your favourite Aussie beer. Do you go for something robust that can last, or something that gives a quick hit but might wear out fast?
Haha. Well, I reckon it's more like our North Carolina barbecue sauces. Some like it sweet and long-lasting, others prefer that quick tangy kick. But I'll tell ya, getting it wrong is like biting into a pepper when you're expecting a blueberry.
It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Eddie G, as they have a big gap ahead of them to close at this point in time. It's game on now. Eddie G has closed the gap to Wayne Pearson. It's now down to 5.9 seconds.
That's a great effort from Eddie G. They need to keep up the pressure and see if they can make a move.
Things are going according to plan for Sunoiler, who is currently first.
Couldn't agree more. Every lap is a story, and right now, Sunoiler's chapter from first is riveting.
Richard Rossier is making ground on Sunoiler quicker than a roux in a paddock. Now, the gap's just 1.9 seconds. You know, Hal, it's been a relatively quiet race so far.
That's right, Rob. The drivers seem to be pacing themselves and waiting for the right moment to make their move. It's like watching a slow dance.
Oof, if Jack M team was a kangaroo, they'd be roadkill by now. Come on, mate, put some pep in that step. Truth, that lap by Jack M team was quicker than a roux with its tail on fire. Someone's been sipping the good stuff.
Y'all see that? Jackham team's lap was smoother than my grandpappy's moonshine, and twice as potent.
Speaking of gambles, mate, what's your take on these mid-race fuel stop strategies? I reckon it's like deciding when to throw another shrimp on the barbie.
Timing is everything, like deciding when to pull out the moonshine at a family reunion. Wait too long, and you'll miss the party.
Would ya look at that gap? Richard Rossier's got a better chance of finding a sober Aussie on Australia Day. But hey, we love an underdog. Go get them, Tiger.
This is where experience comes into play. Sunoiler has been in this position before and knows how to defend their position. But Richard Rosier is hungry for success and won't give up easily. Will we see a clash of the titans?
It looks like Richard Rossier is making a move. The gap to Sunoiler is now down to 0.4 seconds.
The way Richard Rosier is conserving their energy while managing the ERS deployment? Pure artistry. They're sneaking up on Sunoiler like a quiet storm.
Remember the days when manual gear shifting was the norm? It's all so computerized and sleek now.
Oh, the memories. But I must admit, I do admire the finesse of today's paddle shifters. Gives me a whole new level of appreciation for the blend of man, machine, and tech.
Oh, this is getting intense. Joe Ergu is just behind Jack M team. Look at that gap. It's smaller than the difference between Vegemite and Marmite at this point. Richard Rossier in second is giving the leader no room to breathe.
Mate, It's so close, I reckon Richard Rosier can tell what brand of deodorant the leader's wearing. The next few laps are going to be pure, unadulterated racing magic.
Richard Rossier's on the back foot here, struggling to keep up with Sunoiler like a dingo after a roadrunner. There's no escape now. Wayne Pearson is breathing fire and has locked onto Andreas Dittmann's tail.
The gap is 0.7 seconds now. Wayne Pearson is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Andreas Dittmann.
It seems like Wayne Pearson is pushing. They are on for recording their best lap so far this race. The pressure is on for Richard Rossier as they try to catch up to Sunoiler.
The gap between them is just over 0.6 seconds. Can Richard Rosier close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
Stone the crows. Richard Rossier's managed to trim that gap with Sunoiler, eh? Must be the slipstream effect on this straight. Or maybe they've put down that beer. Oh mate, Wayne Pearson's more out of place than a vegan at a Bunnings sausage sizzle. Time to throw another gear on the barbie.
Good lord. At this rate, Wayne Pearson's gonna finish this race in the afterlife. Hope they got good insurance.
It's like Sunoiler has saved all their energy for this final stretch.
They'll be the ones celebrating at the finish line.
And that, folks, is how it's done. A solid performance and great win from Sunoiler. A nail-biting finish, but Richard Rossier claims second place.
Impressive performance. They pushed themselves to the limit for a fantastic second place finish.
Well done to Chris Ilduke for securing third place on the podium. Taking 4th, 5th, 6th, and 10th is Jack M Team, Joe Ergu, Mr. Bang, and Megasaurus 55. Andreas Dittmann and Wayne Pearson in 7th and 8th. 9th is Eddie G.